Is Lewis Hamilton's Ferrari dream already turning into a nightmare? His move to the Scuderia was supposed to be the perfect ending to an iconic career, a fresh challenge, a new legacy, and maybe even a record-breaking 8th title. But after just 2 races, cracks are showing. A tough debut in Australia with flashes of ups and downs in China, but ultimately more frustration after the main race event. Ferrari's inconsistency, strategic missteps, and a growing rivalry with Charles Leclerc have left Hamilton searching for answers. Today, we will break down what's going wrong at Ferrari. But before continuing, subscribe and press the bell icon for updates. Let's dive into the reality behind Hamilton's hype. Lewis Hamilton's move to Ferrari was supposed to be a fresh start, a new challenge, and maybe even the key to an 8th world title. But after just 2 races in 2025, cracks are already starting to show. The fairy tale imagery of Hamilton and Ferrari red, those grinning social media posts, the testing laps at Fiorano, all of it painted a picture of rebirth. But Formula One isn't about vibes, it's about results. His Australian GP debut? A struggle. Qualifying a disappointing P8, finishing P10 after a messy strategy call in the rain. It wasn't the start he wanted, but there was always China, a track he loves, to turn things around. And to be fair, he did, to an extent. Pole for the sprint, a dominant sprint win, and for a moment, it looked like Ferrari had found the magic touch. But just hours later, reality struck. By the time Grand Prix main race rolled around, Ferrari's pace had mysteriously vanished. Hamilton started at pole, finished 6th, and spent most of the race asking his engineers for answers they didn't seem to have. He even had to let Leclerc through at one stage. Charles Leclerc finished the race with his front wing broken in 5th position, beating Hamilton. While Ferrari struggled, McLaren soared. Oscar Piastri and Lando Norris were dominant in China, with Piastri taking the pole for the main race and securing victory. Norris followed closely behind, locking out the podium spots with George Russell. Hamilton, once the master of wheel-to-wheel combat, found himself unable to challenge them. McLaren's resurgence is a worrying sign for Ferrari. They have leapfrogged Red Bull as the strongest team on the grid, leaving Ferrari fighting for scraps. If this trend continues, Hamilton's title hopes could be over before they even begin. Ferrari's poor strategy and inconsistency with the car is costing a lot to a 7-time champion. One session, they're flying, the next, they're nowhere. The moment that had every Ferrari fan holding their breath came on lap 1 in China. Hamilton got a great launch, dived down the inside, and was side by side with Leclerc. Then their car came into contact. Leclerc clipped the curb, his car twitched, and he tagged Hamilton's right rear.
This is Charles Leclerc on the inside, hugging the white line and the curb. He oversteers over the curb, and it just knocks him wide into Hamilton.
Leclerc lost a front wing end plate, but Hamilton somehow emerged unscathed. However, it was an unnecessary incident that immediately sparked questions about the lack of a clear plan for the 2 drivers as they started to compete with each other. Leclerc radioed in, frustrated. Hamilton, on the other hand, didn't even seem sure what had happened. And that says a lot. Right now, Ferrari has bigger problems than inter-team battles, but if things continue like this, the tension will only grow. David Croft suggested Hamilton squeezed Leclerc. Even the commentator countered that Leclerc simply ran out of room. Either way, it was a Ferrari-on-Ferrari incident, and that's never good news. Leclerc isn't just a talented young driver, he's Ferrari's golden boy. He's been with the team since 2019, he's had multiple contract extensions, and he's the driver Ferrari has been building around for years. So where does Hamilton fit in? Is he the number 1 driver? In Australia, when Hamilton was struggling, Leclerc, on the other hand, fought hard to stay competitive, and now once again he has proved himself in China. And after the main race incident, there are talks of another Ferrari controversy rising. If Hamilton keeps struggling in Japan, tensions could rise fast for Ferrari, and if Hamilton and Leclerc can't find harmony, Ferrari could face a season of self-inflicted wounds. And let's not forget, Hamilton is new to Ferrari. Leclerc is a long-term investment. The Scuderia won't want to see an internal conflict, but if results don't improve, could we see tensions boil over sooner rather than later? One of the biggest mysteries of the Chinese GP weekend was Ferrari's sudden drop in pace. Hamilton was on fire in the sprint, taking pole and storming to victory by nearly 7 seconds. Then, in the main race, everything changed. McLaren was back on top, Mercedes looked stronger, and Hamilton was only good enough for P6, so what went wrong? According to Hamilton, Ferrari made setup changes to prioritize race pace, but it backfired, making the car unstable over one lap. Then came the race itself. Ferrari just didn't have the speed to challenge the McLaren's or George Russell's Mercedes. Hamilton spent most of the race on the back foot, trying to make a two-stop strategy work, but ultimately losing ground. Even worse, he had to let Leclerc through because the Monegasque, despite carrying damage from the Lap 1 incident, was simply faster. Hamilton's post-race frustration was evident. "Give me some feedback, guys, come on," he demanded over the team radio. His engineer, Riccardo Adami, gave him the same answer he'd already heard. It's only been 2 races, but Hamilton isn't used to this level of uncertainty. He expected a challenge at Ferrari, but did he expect this much struggle? Part of Hamilton's decision to leave Mercedes was about wanting a fresh challenge. He needed a spark. But if he thought Ferrari would be a step up, the first 2 races suggest otherwise. The same issues that plagued his final years at Mercedes, unpredictable car performance, questionable strategies, and intra-team tension, are all present at Ferrari. Hamilton's 2024 season ended on a low, with critics calling him washed, past his best, and worse than his teammate. Now, in 2025, he's still behind his teammate, still struggling for pace, and still fighting a car that seems to have no clear strengths. And let's not forget he's 40 now. If things don't improve quickly, how long before people start questioning whether this move was a mistake? Ferrari's inconsistency, their internal power dynamics, and their overall lack of pace compared to McLaren and Red Bull make this a tough situation for Hamilton. But here's the real question. Can he turn it around in Japan? Hamilton has been here before. He has good records in Japan, same as he had in China. But the records do not matter in Formula One. Max Verstappen, the defending world champion, is even seen struggling this year. While he was in Mercedes, he's had slumps, he's had slow starts, but he always fought back. The problem is that Ferrari aren't exactly known for turning things around quickly. If they don't find answers soon, Hamilton's much-hyped move could go from a historic switch to a frustrating dead end. Right now, Hamilton's Ferrari fairy tale is teetering on the edge of a nightmare. The next few races will be crucial. Either he fights his way back into contention, or we start asking, did he just make the biggest mistake of his career? The things don't look good for Hamilton's Ferrari journey, already looks unpredictable. One moment he's winning sprints, the next he's struggling to keep up. Ferrari's inconsistency, a brewing internal battle with Leclerc, and strategic uncertainty are raising serious concerns. If the Scuderia can't find answers fast, this season could spiral into frustration. But Hamilton has been here before, doubted, counted out, and backed into a corner. Can he turn it around, or has he stepped into another long-term struggle? The next few races will be crucial. Let us know your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe for updates because the season has many surprises upcoming.